Chris Runge. I own Flyer MOTORWERKS, RUNGE KAROSSERIE, and this is my shop. I'm going to give you a tour of how things happen here. So typically when I get a chassis in, which is just the rolling part of the car with no shell, no body on it, I will talk with a customer about what kind of design they're wanting. Once the customer and I figure out what kind of design we want, or if I'm building my own cars and designing them myself, we start by building a buck. And so back here we have the wooden structure. The way that I design my buck is completely from scratch using pencil. I start on paper and then I translate my design onto a sheet of plywood, and I just start cutting piece by piece. I don't use any computers. I build my buck typically directly onto the chassis that's going to be used. So I have the rolling chassis here, the wheels, tires, everything in place, and then the wooden buck is designed wrapped right around that. The next step is taking sheet aluminum, like what you see over here, and making patterns off of the buck, laying them out on the sheet aluminum, and then I take a flat sheet of aluminum and just start shaping it over tree stumps, shaping it over my knee, hammers. Every once in a while I'll design a car without a buck and I'll just do it straight from scratch. This car was built in 3 sections. I built it this way so that if you wanted to remove the front clip, you could do that. You could remove the entire front clip on this car. If you want to remove the windscreen on this car, you can remove the windscreen and then put on a separate tonneau cover, which is like a competition sports racing setup with just a single little windscreen for the driver. This number 23 car is the first prototype. This is the very first one I ever built. It was built obviously right off of the buck that you saw over there. And then this being a prototype, I've done a lot of things to it over time. I made the removable cockpit, so you can have this car as a roadster with just a little short competition windscreen, or you can run it as a coupe with this aluminum top on it, and it's pretty fun. The coupe really just gives the car totally different lines, and it's kind of the evolution of the new project that I have coming up, the Avis prototype that I'm going to build, which will be a fixed coupe, so it will not have a removable shell at all. It will be a solid coupe roof. And this car has also Volkswagen and Porsche components underneath it. It's obviously a single seat car, so it's really fun to drive. You're positioned right in the center of the chassis and everything. This car is within 1% weight distribution at each wheel, so it's almost perfectly balanced. That kind of gives you a look at how the process goes for me shaping a body over one of these chassis. So over the years, our barns have been used for a lot of different purposes. Animals, storage, and then obviously I've overtaken this one with my hobby that's now turned into a business. And over the years, my dad and I have collected a lot of vintage stuff. This is a 1957 VW case, which is a 2-piece case, and Porsche used similar cases in the early days. It's a stroker. It's got a longer stroke than stock. You can see the silver aluminum spacers here that are punched out to give it that extra room. And then the cool thing about it is that Tom Brook, he's a land speed racer, record holder and setter since 1965. The cam that's in this engine is an Isky 2J cam, so Iskandarian cam, and it's the actual cam that Tom set the land speed record with in 1967. So he and I looked at it and he felt that there's still a lot of life left in that little cam, and we put it in this engine, and it's going to live on in one of my cars that I built. So this is going to be a cool little engine. It will run dual port Wolfsburg West heads, external oil canister type filter like what you see on the early Porsche 356 and 912 stuff. And then it'll probably put out close to 80 horsepower when it's done. So for a 36 horsepower original case, putting out close to 80 horsepower without forcing any air is a pretty good setup. And I'm really excited to see what that cam sounds like. It's going to be pretty cool. So that's a look at my shop. If you want to see more about my work, you can go to flyermotorworks.com. Thanks for checking things out.